and I would like to salute on stage tonight the greatest manager in football, David Moyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Moyes.
David, you've got your award, and you're going to hate this moment, but many times over the years, you've said to me, Bill, if you get me in, you got a gold watch. Well, we got you a gold watch tonight to say thank you so much for everything you have done for Everton. And not only that, there are people here who have supported David Moyes even more than I have and you have, and they're going to kill me. But Pamela and Lauren, will you please come on stage and be saluted by Evertonians. Mrs. Moyes, Mrs. Moyes in blue, and Lauren, Miss Moyes. She's very shy, they're very shy, but I want to say thank you from Everton. This little thing was 7 years old when she first sat behind me. Lauren, on behalf of us all, a present. From the Moyes family,
Thank you, and a really big thank you to the Chairman for his kind words and for the award more than anything. I'd like to say a few words because I didn't feel as if at the game on Sunday it was the right time to do it after the game. And no doubt I'll forget people here, and if I do, excuse me, because I'm going to try and remember and say a few things. I was really fortunate when I was given the job at Everton. I was a relatively unknown manager, and the chairman had the foresight to go and pick a young manager who he thought could do a job for Everton. At that time, Everton weren't riding as high as we'd all like it to be. But he went and he got me and he brought me in. And I've got to say, on the first day, I had a staff member who was Andy Holden. And he said to me the other day, I was going out before the West Ham game, he says, do you remember when you came in the first day and you were shaking, putting on your top before you went out? And that's what it was like. It was nervous joining Everton. It was a great club. But we went and we got the victory that day. And that was my first real memory of joining Everton. The people who remember the games we went after that, we won the next couple of games. And I remember I had to take David Weir into the office on my first day and say, Davey, I'm going to give Duncan Ferguson the armband. I just think it's right. We need to somehow avoid relegation. We need to keep away from the bottom end. Davey, as you would expect, was spot on. And I remember telling Duncan, and I had been a leader of most of the teams I'd been at, not at Everton's level, but most of the teams I'd been. And I remember when I gave Duncan the captain, and that first day in the dressing room, it nearly took my breath away. Duncan was unbelievable. He was ready to charge them up. He was a proper man, a proper leader. And I thought to myself, my goodness, I've been rubbish all my life compared to how Duncan's been. It was fantastic. But I went on a couple of games later on. We went to Newcastle, and I don't know how many were up that day. We actually lost 6-2 up at Newcastle. I think Duncan might have scored early, and somebody else we lost 6-2. And after the game, we went into the office, and it was the first real defeat I think we'd had. I remember Bobby Robson turned round and said, "It's welcome to the Premier League for David Moyes." I remember and always remembered it, and I thought he was right, but I was going to make sure it never happened again, or if it did, it was never going to happen too often, that's for sure. And it was the sort of the inspiration and the drive from someone like Bobby Robson, who near enough made me think this is going to be a real hard job. So as I moved on in time, we had lots of ups and downs. We had a season where we finished near the bottom. We were safe in April. We lost 4 or 5 of the last 6 games, and we lost the last game of the season to Manchester City 5 or 6-0 as well. And if ever there was a time where I thought maybe my job would have been in jeopardy, it would have been then. But because of the stability that the chairman had given and the club had given through Sir Philip Carter, John Woods, Robert Errol, Keith Tamlin, Robert Elston now, all through the club there was a real steadiness that the club weren't going to panic and do anything stupid. So I was really fortunate at that time. But I've got to also say, I think Everton at that time also had a little bit of a mentality, let's just avoid relegation, that'll be enough. And there was no way I was going to have that. I couldn't have it. It wasn't the way I wanted it to be. And I don't think it was the way you supporters wanted it to be. I know it wasn't. But let me move just as I'm going on. I'm going to say, the next year or so, we started to find European football. And it was unbelievable. We went to Metalist Kharkiv. Then we went to Nuremberg for the people who were there. You know, then we ended up at Fiorentina. And I thought to myself, this was a bit, I mean, I still tell the story. We couldn't sleep in the afternoon of the Nuremberg game because the supporters were in the square and they were singing the whole day. And it was really important. You remember the Fiorentina game? It was a brilliant game, Fiorentina. We lost there, we got them back, and we got it back to 2-2 in the end. And it ended up, we lost in penalties, and I think it was Jags who missed the penalty. Yeah. But nothing was more fitting, and it was Jags who get the win in the semi-final of the FA Cup, you know, the time later. So I've got numerous memories. The memories I've got from Everton are going to live with me for a long time, you know, and I'm using his name again. Duncan's goal against Manchester United, which got us in the Champions League that night, was really important. And I said that I'm going to forget people, and I'm going to think is, when I first started, Alan Irvine was brilliant for me. Alan Irvine was a great coach. He's doing a great job with the academy. You know. And the staff who were round about me, I came in, it was Jimmy Martin, all the kit men, Treble, they were all very part of it, and you heard them talking about how good behind the scenes is. Behind the scenes at Everton is terrific, the people who are there. And I had my secretary to start with was Irene, and I'm really fortunate now that I've had Sue, because I'll tell you what, don't you come near my door. If you come near my door, Sue will get you, so don't worry about that. So Sue made sure that everything was great for me and kept everything sound. So my memories go on at Everton. One of the things, though, I have to say is how well my family's been treated. My family's been treated unbelievable. You know, the way Bill treats them, the way my dad is treated by everybody, whether it be away from home or whether it be abroad, or just in the pubs round the ground. It's been great, it really has. So we thank you as a family for everything that's been done at Everton. You know, I could tell you some great stories about where we've gone away with the team, the things that have happened. You know, we always take the team away. We've had some great trips to New York, Miami at different times. And always part of it was that, you know, any new players had to sing. It was part of the regime. You know, and the players will tell you, used to have to stand up on the table. And when we had Joe Yobo was a great MC. He mic'd it, he made everybody get up, introduced them all. And probably the worst ever was Phil Neville. You know? Yeah. Phil was more scared singing a song than he was going out and playing in front of 60,000. He found it terrible. But it's the character that the players have got and the spirit we've had throughout. All the players in my time have been great. And it's the one thing I think to myself is, how lucky have I been? Not just good players, but great men. And for that, I really, really thank them all. But if I came now to the current group of players what I've got, that would be the hardest bit, because I brought them all, except for Ozzy and Hibble, who were already here. They were part of it and have been since I was there. So everybody else I've brought in. So I take full responsibility. And I've always given them I've always wanted to give the players everything we can. Always told them we're going to be at the top of the league. We're going to be there all the time. We're going to keep getting better, and I believe we have. I'll tell you what I do think though. The group of players we've got are great. The way they work, they police themselves in training every day. They're the ones who demand it, and after my time, they won't allow it to change because there's too many of the same. They know the standards they've set. They know what's required. Behind the scenes, you know, it wasn't too long ago that it was Davy Weir and Alan Stubbs and Duncan who were the players. And we laugh now, the staff laugh, Jimmy Lumsden, myself, we laugh now because we say, remember what they were like? Remember, now they're back in the staff, and it'll be the same, and there'll be more coaches come out the group that's there because they're great lads and they're obviously excellent players. I'd really like to thank the players for the way they've done this year, because I think they've been excellent. I think they've been in the top half of the league all season, in the top group, pushing the whole year. The record we've had at home's been excellent. They've been brilliant in all the games for me. They really have. I couldn't fault them at all. So I would have a really big thank you for everything they've done for the players. I will finish now, and I said that I no doubt I've missed lots of people out, and I apologise for that. I'm going to say that on Sunday's game, I've got to say that I thought Everton showed great class in the way they treated their manager. They really did. But more importantly for me was in the second half, you supported your club. You knew you were losing your manager, but you supported your club. I admired that more than I admired anything for the way you were. I hope you keep supporting your club, as I'm sure you will, and I wish you all the very best in the future to you all. Thank you.